Hi there, guys. So I'm back with another video today on here as I promised. So yesterday and today, since I did the town vlog where I uploaded, I think around 3 videos ago, I've been feeling the anxiety a lot more, like to the point where conversations and, just keeping eye contact with people are difficult. It started to improve around 2, 3 hours ago. I had to take a nap, cool things out, straighten things out. But since the town exposure, everything has been difficult. And it's weird because during the time when I was shooting that video, it was all right, it wasn't too bad. But it seems like sort of a delayed, maybe, response from my nervous system. So I got home and I felt like completely out of touch and everything. And of course, the little nap that I had and maybe, a few things I was watching could have affected it as well. But I am working on responding better. And even though I do feel shitty and feel very anxious and nervous in conversations, like I met a old school friend today in Tesco. The convo wasn't long, it was around 3, 4 minutes. And, I haven't seen her in years. So I know definitely she can tell the nervous and anxious vibes that she's getting from me. Like I'm talking, like I'm actually trying to compose myself, but the questions I'm asking and my breathing pace were, of course, not in complete calibration. And, regardless, I use it as an exposure, even though it's, of course, nice to meet someone that I haven't met in years, haven't seen in years. And definitely, hopefully, the next time I meet someone that I haven't seen in a while will go much smoother, or someone new, anyways, in general. But let's dive straight into the topic today. So I want to talk about holiday and holidays and vacations. So in my lifetime, I've been to a few places, mostly, I live in Europe. So of course, UK, Europe. I've only been to, I would say, two countries in Europe. And in Africa, I've been to 2 or 3 places as well. And America, Middle East, might be forgetting a place or two. But yeah, I haven't took too much holidays, but I've always been that type of person that I'd like to meet new people, explore different cultures, not in that typical niche way where people say, I'd like to, get in touch with different cultures, see what they're all about and stuff. Me, it's more of like, I like to, expand my personality and learn new things so I can keep developing. I always believe like we're never like completely done evolving, like we're always changing. So at the start of my videos, if you could go all the way back, you can of course see a slight, evolution of me. Well, if you haven't, I hope so. I feel like maybe I am improving a little bit slightly here and there. And of course, it does feel nice when people tell you every once in a while, like, I see a slight change. Because I started off, of course, very stiff, very awkward, and my goal is to loosen up completely. And there is a long way to go. So, back onto the main topic. So, holidays. I believe everyone should be going on holidays at least every year. It is hard with school ongoing and work, and we have, of course, commitments that we can't just up and leave. And even with me right now, like, I haven't been on a holiday since 2022, so it's been 3 years since I actually left the country. And those 3 years have just been the first. 2022 was just complete darkness for me. 2023 was darkness as well. By darkness, I mean like I was just engulfed in my anxiety and just doing things in the robotic version of me. So if you remember from the first video, can you imagine the way I was, like the anxiousness and everything I was saying, but amplified by 10? So that's exactly where I was. And holidays basically ease your mood, and it's just natural to have a sort of a different response when you go to a different country. So, if I'm responding like this in this place where I'm conditioned to feel all these, not symptoms, but all these, like the nervousness, the anxiousness that's associated with places I know, and I've made core memories here. So it's definitely difficult and hard to change those aspects and dynamics, but I just have to keep responding as I'm doing now. But when you go on a holiday, it's like the destination you go to or location, you've got a sort of a freedom. Like you can now start afresh in a sense, and nobody knows you. and there is that curiosity and eagerness to venture out and, try new things, and, things that were holding you back in your hometown, they're not going to be anchoring you down anymore. So I would definitely recommend people to travel at least once a year, if not twice, first half of the year and the last 6 months if you could. It keeps you, it keeps you on your toes, and it keeps you motivated as well. So once you go to a location, for example, say January, February, when you come back by, summertime around May, June-ish, you're going to be working a lot better at work. You're going to, have that, that thought and sense like, now I've got to work towards this holiday. So not only will it help you put money aside for the holiday, but you're going to be, managing your money more efficiently, I believe. And of course, it'll give you that drive that you need for, like, I'm not going to take these sick days off, or now I've got a purpose. If I didn't have a purpose, of course, it'll give you that purpose to keep working. And it will get you into that sense of, looking at the bright side of things and positivity. So holiday is, of course, a big thing for some people. In my family, I'll just dive in deep. Holidays wasn't a big thing. So I started to travel when I reached the age of, 21 and plus. So in my younger days, I'd travel to Sweden, go back and just see the place where I was born and stuff like that. But it wasn't too big in my family. Like, it's not sort of the financial side. It's more as in the sense as, people and parents in my household and stuff, they just like to conquer goals and, flat out, I want to achieve that in life. I'm going to go for that, holiday and stuff that could come later, that sort of approach. But I think that's just not right. And it might be fitting to some personalities, but, when you're growing up, when you have, of course, parents that view things different, you can't really speak up. And if you do so, then, your idea will just be pushed aside and stuff. So if you grew up in a sort of a household where, a lot of your ideas are not valued, and I don't mean in the sense as you're just completely pushed aside and disregarded. I mean as in the sense that, a child's input is not going to be anything compared to the parents of the house. And if you have a nature where you'd like to explore things, and parents, their nature is to protect their children and make sure they're achieving well in school and, abiding by religious laws, things like that. Basically, the typical old-fashioned parenting. Then I'd advise you to, of course, abide by their rules, listen to your parents always. And when you reach age, as in I'd say 18 or above, then definitely propose the ideas of, what you would like to change within the dynamics of the household, or just yourself. Like if you were to say, I need a holiday, and if it does come to, you need a actual reason to build up to the parents, then you give them a reason. Like, I need to, get a sort of a fresh air, change scenery, and I believe this is going to affect me in a positive way. Most of the time, they're going to be thinking about your safety, and that's 100% understandable. Coming from, a place where I've seen all of this, and even after I reached 21, it was still difficult to sometimes convince them, of course, the benefit side of holidays. And I will own up, like, I've done wrong in places I've been before. So if your references are going against, what you're saying, like, I'm going to have a good experience here where I'm not going to engage in anything bad, then your references would say otherwise, and it's just going to work against your case. But regardless, you've got to live life, and we do mess up from time to time. The older you get and the older your parents get, you both loosen up. If you're an anxious child, or if you're a child that's, overthinks or feel pressured from the parents' side, well, then your parents will soften up over time, and things will change regardless. But nothing is comparable, if that's a word, comparable to vacations when you're young in comparison to when you're old. I'm saying that because holidays when you're young actually shape the way you see things, like in the sense as you're shaping yourself. Like when you're young, like you're a sponge, you're taking a lot of things in from the new cultures that you see and the way people behave in different places and their sort of responses to life is different, of course, from country to country. And when you see one aspect of things and you see another aspect, so one holiday, two holiday, for example, age 8 and then age 10 or whatnot, you'll be more at ease and you feel like, you know, I know what people respond here and what they do here. So you'll have a better sort of a guess into, you know, like as you're evolving, it will be easier to have a better guess into what you'd like to do, if that makes sense. You see, I'm having a brain fog as I'm thinking, and I don't know why. So yeah, definitely it will be much easier to shape and help you, of course, guide you in life as you grow. And that's when you do things early. But definitely vacation is good as well in your later years in life. So even, you know, the elder lot, 60 plus or whatnot, it helps you, you know, at that age, it keeps you young. So when you're young, going on a holiday helps you, you know, create a better understanding and visionary image sort of things with people. And as you get old, it helps you, you know, calm and relax yourselves and just be better in tune with, you know, surroundings as well. So because of course the 30s, the 40s, 50s, we're just, you know, chasing life, money, responsibilities, doing things. And at the later years in life, it will help you basically, you know, relax yourself and get you back in tune with your childish roots, which is definitely needed. So it does play a part when you're young, and it does, of course, play a part when you're old as well. So definitely, I would advise you to take more trips if need be, and don't disregard short trips as well. So usually when you think of holidays, we're thinking of, you know, very far, for example, going all the way to Australia or, you know, doing wild things, but it doesn't really have to be. You know, as long as you are in a different environment to the one that you're in and you are taking in new things and, you know, just keeping it spontaneous as well. So that's literally all that's needed. So even if you start slow, you can always take things faster and expand later on, you know, take further trips. Or if you do it the other way around, then do the short trips. You know, all trips matter. And they all, of course, account to your purpose in life, whatever you intend and set out to do. So whether that's, you know, evolutionary to keep evolving new ideas or to just relax and just enjoy life, you know. So that's my little take in holidays, and I know I can definitely expand, you know, ideas and knowledge onto this topic. But I feel as if though my brain fog is coming on, and I don't know why. Like sometimes when I'm talking earlier, you saw me, I just paused. Like I was thinking about like how holiday could, you know, change a child's perspective in things. And when I've got that thought in my mind, like I'm thinking about a child's perspectives, and then I want to make a sentence, but then I'm thinking of a reality, like a child's perspective. How does a child's perspective, you know, develop into something that's worthy of something? So that's what I'm thinking about as I'm, you know, staying quiet. So it's like my mind is buffering, and that's exactly why I started these videos. And hopefully I'll get the dots connecting and will be flowing much easier. But I keep saying that in each video. So maybe I should just dive in and, you know, keep the expectation part to side, and, you know, things will hopefully show later on. But other than that, it is a evening here. I'm back in my usual park, enjoying the sunset. I ain't got my shades today, but I'm definitely enjoying the sunset. So I'll take the rest of the evening with a stroll and, you know, just loosening up, listening to my thoughts, taking in the surroundings. You know, sometimes like I see people walking all over there, you know, I don't know why I said all over there, but all together that side. A few people in the courts over there. So if I show you around, it's quite distant, but, you know, I see them from here. When I get close to these people, it's like I have to tell myself, yo, be loose. You know, it's not the fact that I'm scared, it's the fact that my anxiety sort of like comes up and I feel so self-conscious. And even though I'm telling myself be loose, maybe that's actually causing the issue, you know? The more you tell yourself be loose, in turn, you're telling yourself that you're not loose. Maybe that's what it is, you know? So I keep telling myself be loose, but then as I'm walking, I feel a bit stiff.